Hi ho, hi ho. I don't like it when people start a video with something like, oh, it's been a minute, or they look at the count if it's a live video and start talking to people that aren't there. I just want to tell you what I have to tell you. And I'm not discussing anything because you're not in the room with me and you can't respond, so we can't have a discussion. So many things about the English language people just don't understand. Anyway, while I've been on a medical leave getting my hip replacement, I decided I would spend as much time as I could during recovery to make as many things as possible to get ready for this craft fair I'm doing in October. It is put on by the Women's Club of Orange, and they do this every year. It's a craft and fair and boutique. This year they decided to do it juried, and I was lucky enough to be chosen. I was planning on doing it anyway, but didn't know it was going to be juried, so I was really glad that they chose me to come back. And I'm adding things beyond the jackets and bags that I had. I'm going to be adding some things, and they were totally fine with that. So I've been trying to get some crossbody bags, coin purses, doing some knitting, see what I can pull off. I took a week off of sewing this last week and just did knitting, which was probably a really good idea. But some of the things I've been making, if you haven't followed on Instagram or Facebook, are these little coin purses, which is a really great way to use up fabric besides using it to make quilts. Really simple little snap on the front, and they open up. You can put coins, you can put cards. It fits credit cards, debit cards. So those were kind of fun to make. I made just a few of those. I might make more, but I made just a few of those. And then I've been knitting with some cotton that I had left over. This is really a pretty one. I liked this. It's kind of a cream color with speckles. And it's shaped like this, very small. And it's just meant to go around the neck, just to keep your neck, kind of warm. Really simple to knit. And I can knit these up really quickly. But, it does take time. And so I'm making a few of those. I'm also working on a cowl that I may or may not sell. I kind of like it. I want to keep it to myself. But it's got a point in the front. You can wear it this way in the front or backwards. But I really like the stitch. It's very therapeutic to have stitches like this. Good for my brain because I have to really think about what I'm doing. Here's another one of those neckerchiefs. This one was a little longer. I made it a little longer out of some variegated cotton. It was a softer cotton that I had. And then, when you run out, you add. So again, it's got the point. It can be worn as a scarf, a neckerchief, whatever. But those are nice and handy. Don't live in a cold climate anymore, so I'm not making those out of wool. Oh my gosh. But speaking of wool, I just decided to do some wool dyeing. I had only done any dyeing maybe back when I was a kid, and it was fabric, other t-shirts, or I think I dyed some fabric with Rit dye. And you get these things pop up on your YouTube feed, and it was about doing natural dyeing with avocados and black beans. And who knew that avocados would produce pink and black beans would produce blue or green? So my first try ended up being this sea foam green, which I hope you can see the color. It is a sea foam green. I really loved it. And I ended up making the entire batch of 5 skeins sea foam green. So I am actually going to sell that at the craft fair. And if I don't sell it, I'll make things out of it. Some of the other dyeing I just did, also with black bean, which this time the color came out a little differently. It's kind of hard to tell. It's slightly darker, a little more of a bluish tint to it. So I did do some more, but one of them really came out with purples. I mean, it's really interesting how it comes out. But I didn't want to settle with all of them being the same. And they came out a little different color than they did the first time around. And I had just watched a video about somebody using gel food coloring And having been a pastry chef, I had a whole bunch of gel food coloring left over. So in Easter egg style, I decided to try that. So I took one of the black bean skeins, and I dipped parts of it. I made some kind of a violet color and dipped parts of it. So that's how that one turned out. And then these, I really love this one. So it's kind of that seafoam green into a light plum color. And then I got a little bit of plum with some pink. And I had tried dyeing with magnolia leaves, and it did give the yarn a little bit of color, not much. So that's why I thought, you know, I need to do a little more than just that. So I decided to take those magnolia leaf ones and add a little bit of color to those. Even got some speckles on there. It was just fun. I mean, I got one that was like kind of mint. It turned the yellowish color from the magnolia blossoms came out more with this kind of mint green. And then I had a couple with plum. This one's got a little plummish pink. I'm sending one of these to one of my sisters who's also a knitter. So she basically said she didn't need it, but she would really like it. So that's what I do with my stuff. And then as far as sewing goes, a few other things that I ended up doing.
$5.
Oops.
That is all it takes to make a difference.
When you turn on your YouTube behind you. Don't forget to register to vote. Obama coming up on my YouTube. Don't forget to register to vote. And when you get your absentee ballot, put it in, take it to the mailbox. Put it in a mailbox. I don't trust these crazy people around anything. So take it to the mailbox. And if you go to the polls, go with a group. Stay safe out there and vote. All right, so some of the things I got to sewing. This was a great... This is from Can Do Designs. I think it starts with a K, and it's like a safety pack. You know, you can wear it under your coat. It's thin. It just has a back zipper compartment where I would probably put my passport, and then a front pocket. I just like to mix and mingle designs, and then it's got a front interior zipped pocket as well. So I made a few of these, had, you know, out of fat quarters. These were 2 fat quarters. I think a fat quarter for a total of maybe a fat quarter and a half to make them, but with 2 fat quarters. And then I also had some other fabric. I had some batik fabric left. So I did a couple more, and I generally make my own straps. I usually use seam binding and then the fabric, and I make my own straps. It's the hardware that's a pain in the butt, you know. You have to, but I didn't use hardware for everything. In fact, I mean regular bag hardware. I actually used snaps on a couple that I made. Here's a good example. Yeah. So I made these crossbody bags, and instead of putting this on the corner, not everybody's right-handed, I put it in the middle. It makes a little bit different fit, but I liked it. So this was just some fabric I had left over from making a kitty cat quilt for Winky the cat. If you don't know who Winky is a great cat. You need to check out Winky on Instagram. But I made a quilt for Winky, and so I had some left over, and I made this crossbody bag that also has a zipper compartment in the back, which would fit a passport or a wallet. It has a front zipper here, and then it also has a big internal pocket. Boop. Stick a bunch of stuff inside. Oh, and it has a little flat pocket inside too. Oh, the pig lining. I also used that on Winky's blanket. I had this box of zippers from Madame Sew or something, and I just used regular 8-inch zippers. And I made another one again, with some leftover fabric I had from making a big quilt. And so same thing, you know, zipper in the back. But these, I use snaps. See, I just used snaps, and I put like 3 snaps on, so it can be really long or short. So it works a little differently than a regular bag hardware. I don't think that's a problem. I mean, if somebody doesn't like it, then they don't have to buy it. And as my sisters know, anything that I don't sell become gifts. So I don't worry about it. I mean, it's a hobby, it's a business, but at the end of the day, I don't worry about it. Now, the other thing I made, which I probably am not going to sell, and I'm probably just going to give away to people, these were fun, but they took too much time to make. I have to look at how much time something takes. So these are bookmarks. Let me grab a book. Yes, Star Wars. Go figure. These are bookmarks. So when you get ready to put your, you know, book away at the end of the day, you just slip this over the corner, and that's your bookmark. Yeah. I liked them. I think they're great, and I've been using them, but I probably am not going to sell them because, like I said, for me, it just takes too long to make these. They do use up a lot of scrap fabric, which was great. I used up fabric that either was already quilted or already had interfacing on the back, and that, you know, made them kind of fluffy. So I did that. But I probably am not going to sell them because they're just, it's just, when something takes too long to make, the amount of time it takes me to make it, that's how I price things. Because the fabric I get sometimes is reclaimed. That doesn't diminish the value of the fabric, because sometimes I find some really amazing fabric that's going to just go into a landfill, and I can reclaim it and use it for things. But I do use new fabric sometimes, but I almost always use fabric that is at the end of the line, meaning they're not going to print this fabric anymore, and it's the last 1.5 yards on the bolt, or the fat quarters, same thing. They use a lot of the ends of bolts to make these end of the line sets. So that's what I use a lot of the time. And then once it's gone, it's gone. So anything I make, one of a kind. I don't, you know, like those bags, I'm not going to duplicate the fabric in any of them. There's never going to be another one. So, you know, anything to get from me, whether it's a jacket, a bag, or a scarf or whatever, it's the only thing that will ever be like that. So I'm going to have those for the craft fair. Now, I have not flipped the switch on the website because I'm focusing on the craft fair right now. And I'm not using Facebook Marketplace anymore. And I will tell you why. I don't know what is wrong with people. And I'm sorry, but it's mostly guys. It is. The only people that are doing this are guys. Or a guy disguising themselves as a woman. They make a comment about an item they see on Facebook Marketplace, ask if it's still available, and then they try to get into a conversation like you would have at a bar. It's like a pickup conversation. And I'm like, nope, not today, Satan. And I usually tell them, this is not the place for that. I'm not here for that. This is not a swipe left, swipe right environment. And then I block them. I mean, what am I going to do, right? I did report one person for sexual harassment. It was very clearly sexual harassment, and that's just the way it goes. But I'm not selling on Facebook Marketplace anymore. So I don't think anything like that is going to happen on this particular crafters marketplace I'm going to be using. It's highly regulated, and so once I get that up and running, once the craft fair is over, it will probably turn on the second week of October, and that's still in time for the holidays. And the reason I'm waiting is I want to see what inventory I'm going to have left over after the craft fair, and then I will get all that stuff up on that site. So that's everything I've been doing. My hip is great. My gluteal muscles are waking up. So that's been the pain I've been dealing with now, but not the hip joint pain. I mean, talk about a miracle. So would I want to do it again? No. I don't want to have any more surgeries. I've had enough in my lifetime. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. You guys have an awesome day, and take up a hobby if you don't have one. It's good for your soul and good for your psyche. Bye, everybody.